You typically, like, go mini golfing with other people.
I've never done that.
Wow. Really?
Do you only go mini golfing alone?
With Ian, yeah, just the two of us. We go mini golfing.
Wow.
It's a very private thing. Hello, and welcome to Way Too Broad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups. I'm Hannah, and these are the other grown-ups, Erin and Ben. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you. No one has ever called me a grown-up before. Hi, Ben. No one's ever thought of me that way before.
Hello.
We're back. We had a week off. It was refreshing. And, for me, it was very stressful, but I'll talk about that later. Mm-hmm. But for many, hopefully, it's refreshing and relaxing. I need to get some stuff out of the way right off the top about audio. I have to apologize for anybody whose sensitive ears were also offended by my mic last week. I guess it was blowing out a lot. There's not much I could do about it after the fact. I just had it turned up too high because when I'm streaming, I use the same mic and I have to turn it up a lot. Secondly...
It's okay, Hannah. I didn't notice.
Yeah, right. Erin's been giving me shit about it all week. And then
giving me shit. I literally just pointed it out so that you would adjust this week.
Yeah, and I said, I don't care. But I care about if it bothered our listeners. But I don't care if it bothered Erin.
She cares if it bothered literally anyone else.
Secondly, I have my window open because it's really beautiful out today. So you might hear stuff like a really loud car that was just... I was about to say talking, but, you know, it's going now. But...
You might hear chitty chitty bang bang out there.
Yeah, and you're just going to have to deal with that, and that's all there is to it. So,
did chitty chitty bang bang talk or fly or both?
Farts.
Okay, farts. You might hear some birds. You might hear some squirrels.
You'll probably hear some birds. There's a lot of birds today.
Birds and squirrels and birds and squirrels and birds and squirrels and birds.
Actually,
and
I have a story about birds, but let's do what are we drinking first? I'm first. Me first. I have a key lime LaCroix. That's one.
Crisp.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. And I have iced coffee. It's a cold coffee. It's not iced. It's like the second coffee I've had today. And I usually have oat milk in my coffee, but today I put in something called not milk, which have you had it, Erin?
No. Did you just like find that somewhere and it was just like labeled not milk and you're like, cool, let me drink this. Great. Sounds
it's not milk, it could be anything. No, it's kind of coconutty. It's got like coconut milk in it or coconut something.
Not milk.
And then it's also got like pea protein and like several other types.
It has pea in it.
It's not milk.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That is a terrible name for a product.
I don't like it one little bit.
It's good though. If you like coconut, it's good. It's got this like it's a subtle coconut flavor, but it's very present.
I hate coconut.
Really? You didn't like it then?
It's one of my least favorite foods.
Fascinating.
Possibly
in all
my
its
least
forms.
favorite.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I can't, like, even if there's, like, because sometimes if you get, like, cookies at a supermarket, for whatever reason, they have, like, little bits of coconut. Even if it's, like, not a flavor, they'll have, like, some kind of coconut thing in them, and it's just, like, coconut oil. Like, I can taste that, and I fucking hate it.
Fascinating. But I didn't know that.
That's kind of the level of coconutty that this beverage is like those cookies.
If I didn't know that, I would have added more subtle coconut flavors to your food and gaslit you about it. I'd be like, is there coconut in this? I'm like, no, Ben, it's pizza. What the fuck?
Yeah, Ben, this
but
is
I will
chili.
have you use coconut oil in the crust or something. That's great. I'm excited to do this next time we see him.
Coconut oil is really good for your skin, your human skin. Can you handle it that way?
Except
yeah, then I'm not eating it.
Yeah.
Except on your face. Don't put it on your face. I used to use it on my face. And then I got it. It's a pore clogger. There's a word for that. that I don't remember what it is. And I got like the biggest pimple of my life. It was like a crater. This was like recently. And my dermatologist was like, whoa! And I like still kind of have a
wow.
from
This
it,
happened
even though it's long gone.
recently.
I'll send you a
Erin,
picture.
you're the only person I know maybe who would even consider using coconut oil on your face because
You're right. I have such
moisture
dry
queen.
skin.
Yeah, like Erin's
Yeah.
entire life, she and I have had opposite skin. I don't know, moisture
Skin
levels.
Yeah.
And so she has always been like, oh my god, I love lotion. Do you want some of my... Every time she comes to visit, she brings the biggest tub of lotion I've ever seen. Our entire lives she did this. And
Yeah.
I would be like, I don't want any of that. I'll take a little bit for my hands. That's it. That's all I can handle. So
Yeah, I'm a big moisturizer. And I moisturize my face now every day, but I use dermatologist approved things, and it goes a lot better for me.
that's good. Your skin looks great.
Thanks. Yeah, it's actually, I would like to put in a quick plug. It's not what I'm drinking, but for dermatologists, they're amazing. So go see one. Yeah. In
But
fact,
what are you
here,
drinking, Erin?
I'll share this in. Sorry, I'm going to share my pimple. Don't share this out in pod. This is for you guys only. But that's my
okay.
coconut oil pimple.
Holy wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That is big.
Yeah, but look how far my skin has come. Look how clear now. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've been seeing a dermatologist, and I had rosacea. I didn't know it. I think I told you about that. Okay.
Oh.
Well, what am I drinking? Did I tell you about that?
No.
Oh.
I got the rosacea.
Wow.
Can you
Who
believe
knew?
it? I was like, why am I breaking out? I have like no oil on my face. Well, because it's not acne, it's rosacea. Okay. I've got not milk and then a cup of not milk and then a little bit of not milk in my cup. Let me translate that for you. I have a little bit. I have a lemon spindy, and I've got a cup of ice water, just like that, and I've got a little sip of coffee left.
Nice. Now it's gone.
Well, I've just got one more. I guess I have probably 3 little sips of coffee left.
You lied to us?
I have like 1 gulp of coffee left, okay, but I'm going to choose to administer it in 3 little sips.
Okay. Baby Ben, what are you drinking?
I've got 2 cups of iced not milk.
He's double fisting.
That's water for those folks at home.
Yeah.
Love it. As an upfront, Ben, did you see my anecdote
Pimple?
in food?
Yep.
Huh?
Your anecdote in food?
Don't
No.
read it, because I'm going to tell it live on pod right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we went, Molly and I are fully juiced. We went and had dinner at a restaurant. I hate this. And I'm
Juiced?
I'm fully juiced. We're both fully juiced, which is exclusively how I refer to being fully vaccinated.
Ian is legally fully juiced now, too, and me.
Yeah. Fully juiced means...
I thought it was 4 weeks for Johnson & Johnson
Well,
too.
No, well, here's the thing. According to the CDC, you're considered fully vaccinated after 2 weeks. But according to Ian's research, you're like at your highest level of immunity to the actual virus after 4 weeks. So while
That's
he is
fully
legally
juiced.
considered fully juiced, he will not consider himself fully juiced until he gets to 4 weeks. 28 days.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So it's very intuitive what it means to be fully juiced. It's like, you're juiced. You just know, you know it, right? So we're fully juiced. I really hate this, and I'm wondering when I feel comfortable stopping doing this. And I resisted in the chat, but it's like, we went to a restaurant last night. We sat outside. Like, I hate that, like, I'm going to lunch with somebody socially distanced, right? Like, you feel like the need to caveat. So I'm going to stop doing that. We can assume now that I'm fully juiced and so we went to a restaurant last night. We sat outside. But, we got an order of cannoli, and it comes with 2, and I ate mine there, but Molly got hers in a little to-go box, and we're walking to the car, and she's like, oh no, my cannoli's rolling around, and I said, my condolences.
I love that.
Yeah. So, that's what happened.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
What was it like? We have to schedule it. We're gonna schedule a reservation for when Ian considers himself fully juiced, because I'm ready to go.
It was awesome. It was so great. It was a little chilly, but they had heaters, And it was just really lovely. I feel like even if I wasn't fully juiced, I would have felt really comfortable with it. Because the only time I went inside was to, like, quickly use the bathroom. And, the wait staff had masks on. I mean, I felt comfortable with it because I knew I wasn't giving it to anybody. But it was awesome. It was great. So nice. So nice. They were, like, out of something I wanted. I was like, when has this happened? It hasn't happened to me in so long. Yeah.
So
that was great. You, like, order something, they're like, yeah, we don't have that. You're like, I remember this frustration. I remember this time of year. It was good.
Imagine.
10 out of 10.
Imagine that. We're trying to decide the place that feels very important because we haven't sat at a restaurant in over a year.
Yeah, I'm going to do, like, a tour. I'm like, who else is sitting outside? Let's go.
Well,
I know where we'll go. I feel like we would usually go to Trident, but they're far enough away that we would either have to drive or take the T, and I don't know if I'm even fully juiced when I take the T. I guess fully juiced I'd take the T. What a weird sentence for someone who doesn't know. There's no context.
Yeah.
it's so crazy.
I think fully juiced I'd take the T, but still wearing a mask.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's an interesting time because we still don't know whether you can pass on the virus to other people when you're fully juiced. It seems like it's seeming less and less likely, but it's not necessarily known. And also, like, the other thing is, like, okay, someplace like our state, Massachusetts, a lot of, I think it's like 50% of the population has had at least one shot in Mass, I think, maybe more. But like still our case numbers are continuing to grow, but then the number of deaths and like hospitalizations is not growing. So at some point, like, I think there's going to have to be this paradigm shift where we stop thinking of the case number as like this horrifying leading indicator and start thinking of it more like a never-ending flu season almost, where like if you're and I don't think we're there yet, but like eventually we are going to have to, once we're like closer to herd immunity, we're going to have to transition out of tracking stuff like case numbers and really focus more on like hospitalizations and deaths, or maybe we'll always track case numbers or whatever. And then also like the fact that we're so far ahead of so many other countries in vaccinations means that like there's still like I still feel like a certain level of hypervigilance about variants and stuff like that could potentially like get through the protection that we all have now. So I'm just like, I feel I did accidentally forget my mask when I left the house for the first time in a year the other day, so clearly I'm feeling less hypervigilant, but it's fine. I didn't have to actually. I was supposed to go to the bank, but I just didn't, so it was fine.
Yeah, I feel like I've been reading some helpful, like I get the New York Times Digest every morning, and there's been some helpful articles recently about kind of like irrational COVID fears. Irrational being a strong word, but it's just going to be psychologically hard for, so like, what is this, if you're vaccinated, COVID presents a minuscule risk to you, and you present a minuscule COVID risk to anybody else. A car trip is a bigger threat to you and to others. About 100 Americans are likely to die in car crashes today. So it's kind of like this, like, because this threat was introduced in our lifetime, we're going to be more, even though it's, like, less of a threat than, like, driving around in our car, it's going to feel more important to us. It's going to feel harder for us to, like, just like ignore it.
Yeah.
And also stuff about like another article was about like do we need to still wear masks outdoors? What about families that are vaccinated but their kids aren't? It's like if those families choose to start doing things again versus families that choose to be more protective, both of those decisions are grounded in science, and both, there are experts who work in study COVID who would choose both things. And it's just like this has been a really big collective trauma, and it's going to take people a while to kind of recover, and we need to be really patient and graceful with folks who are on different pages than us. as we kind of sort out how to come out of it. But I think taking baby steps, like sitting outside at a restaurant, I can see how we can start doing other things, right? Mm-hmm. So it feels like, dipping toes back in.
Yeah, like on Thursday we went. I'm like pretty ready to get back out there I'm like completely on board with still wearing a mask in public. I mean, I haven't even had a cold like this whole time. Like I feel like it'll protect you from so many other things that are not airborne that it's like nice. I may never stop, but like I'm fully on board with it, even just in the perspective of making other people feel comfortable, because not everybody out there has been vaccinated, and like you said, people are at different like levels. I'm never double masking again unless there's like another virus. Like I just won't do it. It's a pain in the ass. But I will wear like a good sturdy mask when I go out. Right. Ian, we had to go up to visit our new house, our hopefully new house, our very likely looking to be a new house, which I'll talk about more in my obsession. On Thursday, and Thursday was the day that he was officially legally considered fully juiced. And so on the way home, he asked if we could stop at Whole Foods, which there's none near us, so that's already a treat. But he was like, I just want to browse. Like, I haven't been able to just browse in the grocery store. I just want to go like stare at the soaps in an aimless way. And we did, and it felt really nice. And then, like the other day, he went to an estate sale, which it was obviously like inside of a stranger's house with other people, which he like never would have done at any point in the past year. So yeah, it's like those like baby steps and things that are safe, but they don't feel safe. But the more you do them, the more they'll start to feel safe again. So
yeah, and being juiced, it feels so good. It feels so like good. We were like on this side of things last year. People were, we just had no idea what was safe, and now we're like, we have science, and we have, my body is a trained machine. Yeah, my body is juice, and it's like, I know that shit works because I was sick for like 2 days, right? Like my body's like not allowing any of that spiky shit to hang around. It's like, fuck that, give me some of that. So it's juiced up.
Yeah,
this feels good.
Yeah, it feels good. I just want everybody to get to...
I want everyone to get the juice.
Get to our level. Get the juice.
Get the juice.
Feel the juice.
Get on our level, idiots.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, like I got my hair cut, and it was just so good to chat with my barber. She was having a little bit of a cough. I'm not sure what it was, but I was like, you know what? We're both wearing a mask, and I'm juiced, so this is probably okay.
That's wonderful.
But I would have been freaking the fuck out otherwise, But I was just like, all right.
It is really nice. Like I hadn't realized how obsessive I had gotten about other people's coughs, especially, and like I feel like I'm getting rid of that as quickly as it came on. It's going away for me, and that feels really good, because it's like all these little layers of like stress and anxiety really like pile on top of each other in a way that you can't keep track of in the moment, like why you're feeling stressed. But as they start peeling away, you're realizing like, oh, that was like a really burdensome thing that I was feeling all the time. So
yeah, yep,
feels good. Loving that juiced life.
Yeah. Hashtag juiced.
All right. Other upfront
Any
stuff?
other fronts?
Fuck no.
My condolences. Thanks for waiting for us. Big shout out to my good friend Sydney M. Games, who may be pointing some people our way sometimes at this point. She's such a lovely person. I've talked about her before on the podcast, but welcome to any Sydney M. Games fans who are here listening. We love you guys. I love you guys. You're great. You're wonderful people.
The games.
Sydney M. Games were like, Sydney M. rules. Thank you. And welcome.
Oh, Ben, did I tell you she wants to fight you for calling her a nerd?
Come fight me, nerd.
Even though you took it back.
It's gonna be like like nerd v nerd because
just to
Fuck.
It's an engineer ring rivalry. That's what it is. Yeah.
Engineer ring?
Engineer ring. That's what it is when you fight it. You'll meet in the engineer ring. All right, let's pop in then. Oh, sweet. I'm first.
Hannah, what's your obsession? Whatever could it be?
I have a great obsession for you guys. It's house related, but it's not my house. But
okay. Okay.
I think the last time I will give a little update because I think the last time that you guys already know, but I think the last time that we talked, we maybe had done one of the inspections. I don't think we'd done the inspection on our new house yet. And that's why I was so stressed last week, because when we did the inspection, they did find like something that looks suspicious about one part of the foundation. And so we had to get an engineer in to look at it, and basically had to like extend the contract and put the signing of the purchase and sales on hold until we could understand what was going on with that spot in the house to make sure it was like structurally sound and stuff. And unfortunately, we couldn't get the guy in as quickly as we wanted. So we had to like wait an entire week, and it was torture.
That's what she said.
Yes. Fortunately, the guy that we found that was eventually able to come over, he was super nice. He had like a lot of knowledge about old houses. He was a structural engineer, so he like knew what he was talking about.
Engineer ring.
He could fight you guys also and meet you in the engineer ring. But no, I don't think he'd want to fight because he was very kind. And he he inspected like the spot from inside the basement. He inspected the spot, and he was like, I don't know what caused this. I think it's kind of would be hard for me to determine what caused it. Basically, he agreed that it was so the just to give a quick description, the house is very old. It was built in the somewhere between the 1850s and 1870s, and it has
1860s.
Maybe no, actually earlier than that. Because but
I'm just thinking between 50s and 70s
is the 60s,
probably 60s.
Yeah. Are you saying the 1860s?
1850s? No. Yeah.
18?
Yeah.
50s?
Yeah.
Wow, that's old.
Yeah, it's old.
That's an old house.
Yeah, it is.
Are you worried about ghosts?
I'm not worried about them. I'm like expecting there might be some.
That's like a co-housing community.
It's okay. Ghosts aren't real. Don't worry about it.
It's a co-haunting community.
Yeah. There've been it's been through a lot of different lives. I'm actually really excited to try to do more research on it. It was the earliest record we can find is from the 1850s, and it belonged to a guy who also held a stake in this what kind of mill was it? A paper mill? Ian, was it a paper mill? Cotton mill? That's right. There was a cotton mill that was like right down the street from it, and it's not there anymore.
1850s.
Yeah, big yikes.
Well, no, a mill is automated, so there were people that worked there, but it wasn't like.
Yeah, but where'd the cotton come from, my dude?
Oh yeah, true. So that house was originally housing for people who worked. Well, maybe not originally, but at some point in its lifetime, it was housing for people who worked at the cotton mill. And then it changed hands several times, and the earliest picture we have of it is actually from the 1980s, and it's clearly been re-renovated once or twice since then. So it's been through a lot, and it's still standing and very sturdy. So so the basement is field stone, which basically means they dug the stones out as they were like digging the foundation. They pulled out these big stones that are just like all over in New England, probably because of glaciation, if I had to guess. And they just pile them on top of each other all around the edge of where they want the foundation to be. And in the old days, that's all they did. They didn't even like put mortar between them. They just piled them up in such a way that they could bear the load of a house. And then on top of that, there's like 20 inches of brick. And the problem with the foundation was that it was the brick part looked like it was bending outwards. So he saw it, like he noted it. He was like, yeah, that seems like it could be something significant. But then when he went down and started like measuring and stuff, he was like, I don't know when this happened or how it happened, but it doesn't seem like it's actively moving at this point. And so it's either something that could potentially have been built that way, or it's something that settled into that position like decades and decades ago, but just hasn't moved since, which is something like part of the thing with foundations like that is that they will settle to a certain point, and then when they kind of find their equilibrium, things just kind of stop moving. Because part of the purpose of basements like that is like, no matter what, you're going to get different forces trying to come in from the outside, like when there's moisture and stuff. Like enough of that can cause problems, but they expected there to be some, and basically like the foundation almost is built to be a little bit flexible. You know, it's a little softer than something like concrete, so that it's almost like a porous foundation in a way. But it still is like very effective at keeping moisture out. We didn't see, like, there had been a bunch of snow up there recently, and the basement was very dry. But while he was there, he also found that there was a really bad, not terrible, but pretty bad repair, like reinforcement job done on like a big structural beam for the house. So that wasn't even something that our inspector noticed, but he noticed it, and he said that's going to cost us something to fix. And so he wrote us up a report, and it's basically, we're asking for a little bit of help of like, you know, them covering some of the closing costs so that we can put that money towards repair, like reinforcing this beam. But it's nothing that's going to like crumble at any moment or anything like that. It's a structurally sound house where we know how to fix it. We have like a lot of good connections within that industry because of Ian's dad. And so like, we're not too worried about it. We're like pretty well equipped to handle it. So...
Nice.
Yeah. So, but another thing that came up during the inspection, which leads to my obsession, is that the furnace is really, really old. It's an oil furnace, and it's like 25 or 30 years old or something.
It's an old. You just say old with a weird accent.
It's an old oil.
It's an old furnace.
It's an oil furnace, and it still works, but it could just die any day. It's like past its normal lifespan. So we've been doing a lot of research about different things we could replace it with. And that led us to watching a ton of videos from this YouTube channel called Technology Connections. And he's this guy, his name is Alec. He lives in the Midwest somewhere, and
Baldwin?
he's just a huge nerd. No, a different Alec, believe it or not.
There's more than one.
We sent you guys, actually, I circulated a video a while back. I don't think I talked about it on here or anything, but it was about dishwashers. And he was talking about how he doesn't recommend that you use the like the packet dishwasher things, because unless you put like one inside the soap container and one outside the soap container, it skips the pre-wash stage completely. And pre-wash is really important for being able, for like the dishwasher being able to actually get your dishes clean, and it preferably should have some detergent during that phase. And it's a long video. Some people thought it too long, but he gets very into the weeds. I don't want to get into the dishwasher video because we have a lot of arguments about pre-washing dishes and stuff, and I am fundamentally against it. Oh, hold on a second. My realtor's calling.
That'll give me a chance to make this joke. Her house does not come fully furnished.
Okay, so quick, exciting mid-podcast update. We have reached a deal with the sellers on the concessions I was just talking about, which is to fix the foundation
fully
thing.
Furnished.
So, yes, so the furnace is not something that we're getting a concession for. It's just something we're going to deal with on our own. So we've been looking at these things called heat pumps. Ben, are you familiar with heat pumps?
Nope.
Okay, hold on. My mic's not close to my face. Okay, so a heat pump is basically...
Why didn't you ask if I was familiar with heat pumps?
Erin, are you familiar with heat pumps?
No.
So the Technology Connections guy, okay, just to give you a sense, he really likes all kinds of technology, old-timey stuff and also like new-timey stuff, and he likes to take things apart and then film how they work on the inside, which I fucking love, and it's so much fun. And honestly, like he is a huge nerd and he talks like a huge nerd, but I find it so soothing for some reason to hear him describe how shit works, even if I don't have a clue what the fuck he's talking about. It's been just like our comfort thing through this entire stressful week. We've been just watching all these technology connections videos, some of them repeatedly, specifically the one about heat pumps, because heat pumps are really fucking cool. So basically, heat pumps work exactly like air conditioners. They have a refrigerant inside, and they like, depending on how much you're compressing the refrigerant, it's either causing it, and it has two ends. So one of them would be like inside your house and one would be outside. But, and depending on how you're compressing, the things on either end, you're either producing heat inside or you're producing cool air inside, and you're either letting out, the opposite outside or, so everybody who has an air conditioner, like a central air conditioner, could have a heat pump if they had bothered to manufacture it with just like a few extra pieces on the inside. So it's like really that's like his like biggest frustration about America is just that air conditioners are so ubiquitous, but heat pumps are so rare, despite the fact that it takes almost nothing to... I don't think you can retrofit it, but like if you were to put in a heat pump, you would just have both. You just have it. And it would be just as... Well, depending on the temperature outside, it would be just as energy efficient. So there are like two types of heat pumps. Well, there are a few different, but like the main thing... His first video was about air source heat pumps, which is what I just described. You have a unit that sits outside your house, and you can have it... You can have ductless or ducted air source heat pumps, so you can either have just tubes of refrigerant running back and forth between the outside and the inside, and then it's like a thing that hangs on your wall, like a wall-mounted air conditioner, or you can have it run through your ducts and like existing ducts, or retrofit your ducts or whatever, and have it run pretty similar to how a regular air conditioning or heat would. But when it gets cold, like especially if it's below freezing outside, the efficiency of the heat pump starts to really suffer, because when the heat pump outside is releasing cool air, which it would be if you're heating the inside, it also causes evaporation, and eventually it'll cause the outside part to ice over, in which case it has to stop heating to basically reverse the process and heat itself up outside to melt the ice before it can start again. So it's like smart enough to be able to do that, but once it's like cold enough outside, then your sort of return on energy investment really drops very low. So it's usually like something you still need a backup heat like furnace system of some kind to deal with like very cold days like we get during the winter in Massachusetts. But there is like new technology coming out around it all the time, because it's much more energy efficient under the right circumstances. So than like any other type of heating. So like some of them have their own dedicated sort of heaters that just sit outside with the machine so that it can just keep melting the ice and keep running anyway, stuff like that. So we're going to like be looking at that. We're going to see if there's any way that we can just have heat pump heating in our house and not have to do any sort of like fuel burning heat at all, which would be really cool. Another thing that is like kind of a pipe dream of mine, but I think we might just be a little early on it, is geothermal heat pumps, which he did a whole second video on, and I'll link to both of these. And they're so cool, because the thing is, once you get past a certain point in the ground, like anywhere in the world, it's just 50 degrees or so Fahrenheit. So taking that temperature and like using refrigerant to make it either 70 or like, to bring it to 70 degrees or 65 or whatever inside your home is like really easy, no matter what time of year it is or what the air temperature is outside. But the thing is, in order to be able to use the heat from the ground for that, you need to run a whole lot of piping underground, like below the point of like the frost line, wherever you live. So it's pretty cost prohibitive for a lot of people. And you need a lot of open land to do it. But there are some, like, people are really interested, like, when there's new construction, it's something that's, like, worth looking at, or, like, in communities that are just being built, sometimes they'll, if they're thinking far enough ahead, they'll build a whole, like geothermal field and then share the energy from it, or the heat and cooling from it, across a lot of different houses. So that's like a cool option. But then also there's this company called Dandelion Energy who has developed this method of drilling down instead of spreading out the tubing, and it allows you to use a lot less space and still get the same results. So that's something that I would really love to look into, because they also have like, it's still very expensive, but they have like low upfront cost like financing options that might make it worth our time, especially because we are going to have a fair amount of land at this new house, and so that would be super fucking cool and very like future forward if we were able to get geothermal heating and cooling in our 200-year-old house.
Yeah.
So like
that's an old house.
Yeah, which we may that may not be an option because they're only operating in like New York State right now, like upstate New York. But they are hiring in the Boston area. So we're like maybe if we wait a year, maybe they'll be doing stuff in Massachusetts. I don't know. I'm on their waiting list now, so they'll be in touch, when they come to our area, if they do. So that would be super cool. But yeah, we're definitely going to have a heat pump or multiple heat pumps of some kind. And I've just learned a whole ton about them from Technology Connections, and I would really recommend his videos on anything that you have any interest in, whether it's a nostalgic interest or a future-looking interest. If you see a video he's done about it, you're going to learn a ton from it. So I would highly recommend checking him out if you like to hear nerds talk about things they're passionate about, because and if you're listening to this show, then maybe you do. So hopefully you do. So that's it. That's my obsession: Technology Connections and heat pumps.
Oh, cool. That's neat, Hannah.
Thank you.
I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna check that out.
Check it out.
Hey Ian, can you let the kitty out, please? I don't know where he is. He'll do it probably. Okay, Erin, what's your obsession, my cousin?
What's up, my cousins? Okay, I got one. It's like a tag on to a previous obsession we had. In fact, I need to look at what it is. What episode? I know what my obsession is, but what episode we talked about this in? In episode 155, Greatest Pal of My Life, Ben brought Jacob Collier as his obsession, and my obsession are a few of his YouTube offerings, specifically his Logic Session breakdowns and his terrible name, #IHarmYou series, which is where I think he was doing it originally as a fundraising effort for his first album, but he had fans send in small clips of them singing a melody, any melody at all, or not even singing, but like on their instrument, however simple or complex, and then he would harmonize it. And so there's a bunch of offerings on his YouTube channel of that. There's there are some videos. I think there's four videos, each about like maybe 20 minutes long, that will show the original clip and then his harmonization, which is super fun because you're kind of like, some of the melodies are just like, how is he going to do anything with that? And then he always comes up with something amazing. And it'll be just like people from all over the world, people with various abilities. And what I love about those is that some people are singing a little off key, or their tempo is inconsistent, and he just like turns it into something beautiful. He doesn't change their original vocals at all. And he always, and so that's really interesting. And one thing that I really love is there's a live stream, a recorded live stream. It's like 8 hours long, which is totally my jam, to find like an 8 hour long YouTube video that I can like watch over the course of a week. Or so, and it's a live stream of him doing a ton of them. He's fundraising for his touring cast and crew, fundraising money for, it was like during the pandemic at some point, he did this like 8 hour live stream to raise money. I think he raised like $30,000, and he gave it all to his like the touring cast cast his touring band members and crewmates, and he was doing like one harmonization every 45 minutes, and it's just that kind of combined the Logic session breakdowns and the harmonization. I think that is probably like one of the things I'm most obsessed about. So when I say Logic session breakdowns, Jacob Collier like does all of his own producing and stuff in Logic Pro 10, which is a piece of software that from Apple that to make music with.
It's like GarageBand but better. Exactly.
Yeah, like I use GarageBand and it's like GarageBand to the 10th degree. In fact, I was like looking at Logic Pro prices and I was like, no, I haven't been doing a lot. But it like inspires me to like produce music because he's just so, I mean, he's like a fucking music savant, but he makes it seem so approachable, and he kind of talks through all of his decision making, and in his Logic session breakdowns, he'll take his songs like Moon River or like, you know, songs off his Jesse albums, and just show piece by piece, like section by section, like, here's what's happening here, and here's how I did this, and if you go here in Logic Pro, you can do this fun thing, and then he kind of like breaks down all the techniques and stuff in these like huge, long YouTube videos, and they're so interesting, and they're so cool, and he's just like, you know, a mad genius. And so like, and then I think it's really cool, the things that he does with kind of crowdsourcing these harmonies from just like anybody, and in this live stream, this I Harm You live stream one, that is kind of combined. So he's like working in Logic Pro real time. You see him like developing these harmonizations in real time and using Logic Pro and being like, oh, I had this idea. And here's, and just like kind of like, you kind of see the magic happening, and it's really cool. It's so fun. And he just seems like a cool dude. And no submission is too off key or too slow. He never criticizes it. He's always celebrating all this stuff, and then the stuff that he comes up with is just like really, really neat. So that's my obsession. Jacob Collier, we stand.
What would you say your obsession is? Would you say it's these two particular videos, or just Jacob Collier being great?
I would say Jacob Collier hashtag I Harm You, you spelled with a U, and his I Harm You Epic Marathon is definitely. So I would say Jacob Collier's I Harm You Epic Marathon and Jacob Collier's Logic Pro breakdown session. So there's the epic marathon, and here let's do one of these Logic Pro breakdown sessions. He has a good bit of them. I want him to do He Won't Hold You for Logic breakdown session, but he has not done that.
I see he did one on All I Need recently, which I fucking love. That song.
Love that song.
Have you watched it?
No, I just love the song.
In one of he's done a few of the I Harm You live. You know, Sleeping on My Dreams is good. He's kind of live streamed some of his longer form I Harm You sessions, and one of them, it was January. I was like looking at when he released it. It was like January 2019, and he's like, I don't have my full drum kit right now because we're actually developing a new touring show for this year. I'm so excited about it. We're about to go on tour, and this new touring program is going to be so cool. I just can't wait. And I was like, oh no, sweet baby boy. Oh no.
Look, we all had those moments.
Sweet angel.
We all had those pre-Panini moments.
You sweet angel.
Oh.
Time Alone with You is a good Moon River Logic session breakdown. Just any of them are great. Just check them out. Check them the fuck out.
Awesome.
He's also got some stuff I want to watch. He's done a bunch of like master classes and stuff for like colleges and stuff that are on his YouTube videos. I'm excited to watch those, which is just really funny because he's like, I mean, the guy's like in his 20s.
Yeah.
So
he's a master.
Yeah.
How freaking long my hair is. It's absurd.
It's so long. It's like armpit length.
It's like get stuck in your armpit length. Yeah.
Yeah. So check it out.
Check out Jacob.
Check it out.
He's so great.
Yeah.
If anyone listening to this hasn't listened to Jacob Collier, get it right.
What the fuck are you doing?
Get it right.
What are you doing?
Get it right.
Get it right. Get it right.
Sweet. Great obsession. I love it.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a great life. Ben, what's your obsession, my brother?
I have
My cousin.
I have two that I'm really torn on. So we're gonna do a choose your own adventure.
Okay.
Ooh, I love those.
Would you rather hear about an anime or a science YouTuber?
I have my vote. I'd rather pee at this time.
Oh, that wasn't an option, actually. So, what's your vote,
Hannah,
Erin?
what's your vote? Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Science YouTuber.
Wow.
Great,
okay.
perfect. Can I pee
Do you
first, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm gonna do a science you, Peter. Peter first. Get it? Get it?
Ben, I'm so excited because now I can set up a streaming / podcasting space and a workspace. So,
Hell yeah.
I'm about to set up a stream.
yeah, so it'll have like a fun background, or maybe I'll get a green screen. I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get a computer that can actually manage to play a game and stream it at the same time.
Or get a separate streaming PC like the real pros.
How much did it cost you to build Daddy?
Around 1,000, I think.
Could you help us?
Maybe a little more than that. No, it was more like 1,200.
Could you help us build our own Daddy if we wanted to?
Of course. Science YouTuber. He's a nice British man named Steve Mould.
I'm sorry. I should cut that out.
Wait, did you laugh?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Steve Mould. It's Mould.
Oh, okay.
But he's really great. He
How they
releases
spell it
video-
abroad.
He's also getting pretty close to a million subscribers, which is cool. And he just makes like great. So actually, I originally heard of him from Numberphile, which is my obsession a while ago. And I mentioned a few weeks ago my obsession was Stand Up Maths, who's another person who appears frequently on Numberphile. Steve Mould has appeared a few times on Numberphile. I know he's in one about Benford's Law, which is
I've seen that.
the thing about the number 1 appearing in a large group of numbers. The number like 1 will appear more often than 2, and so far down the line as the first number. Like if you have a large set of numbers that span a large range, and you look at the first digit of each number, the number 1 will be more common as the first digit. Number 2 will be, and then down the line, like 9 is the least common. And he has a whole video about that where he explains that on Numberphile. He also has I think that he's also in a video on Numberphile about he's a big advocate of, instead of using pi as like the constant for circles, using tau, which is defined as 2 pi. Because then the circumference of a circle just becomes tau times the radius instead of being related to the diameter, because the radius is the thing you use more often. And there's like other reasons. And the area becomes tau over 2 r squared, but that like shows you that it comes from integration. Anyway, he makes videos. His like main thing is not math YouTuber stuff, it's science stuff. So he like makes videos kind of explaining scientific concepts in a very understandable way. And he's done a lot of stuff recently with like hydrodynamics. Like, have you ever heard of a greedy cup siphon?
No. I haven't.
It's this thing where you fill. It's a cup that like when you fill it to a certain point, it drains. And there are a lot of like mechanisms in the real world that work like it. And he has a whole video about how those work.
Is that like a bathtub?
No.
With the little fill thing, if you fill it up too much, it'll start draining.
Well, but
like that.
No, because no, I seriously no. It's like with a greedy cup siphon, it's actually more like a toilet. Like you know when you flush a toilet, it fills up water first and then it drains. That's actually a greedy cup siphon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, because it has to fill up to get to the thing, and then the pressure of the down thing sucks all the
sucks all of it out.
Assuming
and
you're letting it mellow. Sorry. Please continue.
He's just very good at like making things understandable, and he has a good mix of like just him talking, animations, and like little experimental setups where it's useful. And yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed a lot of his videos over the few weeks. This is let me send you the one on the Pythagorean siphon, which is another name for the greedy cup siphon.
The toilet siphon.
Which is one. It's also in your washing machine. Or in some washing machines. Your watching machine, yeah.
This looks familiar.
I think one of his most recent ones that I've really enjoyed, that's really long, is about orbital resonance, which is this thing that naturally occurs with celestial bodies like planets and moons, where their like orbital periods will be exact multiples. They'll be like in exact ratios with each other, such that they'll like meet up at certain times. And there's like actual physics to explain why you see that all the time in celestial bodies. Like they arrange themselves in those distances from each other to reach orbital resonance. And there's also a really cool thing at the end of that video, which is a totally separate interest of mine, where he uses an example of sonification, which is like turning some kind of data representation into sound to make it more understandable for us. And in this case, it was because like he was showing this animation of a star system that was like in orbital resonance, like all the bodies were in some ratio with their orbital periods with each other. But it's really hard for our eyes to like see the effects of that, whereas our ears, like our listening systems in our brain, are really good at picking up on like arrangements of different frequencies, because that's like what they do. So like if you sonify that data by just like making each orbital period represent or for example, like you play a sound every time the planet like reaches a certain line, each planet reaches a certain line, you can like hear beats, and you can like hear that they are kind of like in not in tune, but like in
chorus.
Yeah, kind of like in accordance with each other. You can hear it a lot better than you can see it, basically, which is really cool. And then if you increase like the frequency to be audible tones, but then keep all the ratios the same, then those orbital resonances like form different chords on a keyboard. It's really cool. And our ears are really good at that kind of thing, which I think is really neat. And that's like a thing that's actually used in the world of science to like analyze some systems that can be harder to analyze with our eyes. Is like make it so we can hear it instead, and you can pick up on different things. Which I think is really neat. Yeah, he's got a lot of great, I think that one's a good, maybe that's not a great starting one because it's pretty complicated, but like,
but I love visual aids. I love this thing he made. Yeah.
Oh my God. He did these like 2D hydrodynamic visual aids that he made, because he's now done a couple of these. And they're all really cool. In fact, he most recently made a water computer. So he like made a 4-bit adder using these little like 2D hydrodynamic structures that he's gotten pretty good at making at this point.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm trying to find other ones that I really liked. He's got one about resonance, which is really cool. that he shows with fire. And then this is another one called Laser plus Mirror plus Sound, which is a fun title. And it's also really good. Where if you put a little piece of a mirror on a speaker, or on a membrane that's wrapped around a speaker, and then you shine a laser onto that mirror, and then reflect it so it reflects onto a wall, and then play different sounds, the laser will make really cool patterns on the wall.
Oh.
Which is really fun and could be just a fun experiment to do yourself. Yeah, he's got a lot of cool shit. I highly recommend just browsing through, and if something seems interesting to you, just take a look at it.
Neato.
Pop that video open.
Pop it open and take a ride.
I just have to say I've been watching this Pythagorean siphon thing on mute while you've been talking, and it's very satisfying to watch, even on mute. Like the wine glass.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I recommend it. Even if you're not listening.
I recommend playing the sound so you know what the fuck's going on. I guess you could throw the captions on.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Wait, there was another really cool one. Oh, I think this was actually one of the first ones I watched of his. It was about, there are these cheap Chinese LED light bulbs you can get that, don't turn off when the switch turns off. And there is a reason why, although he links to another YouTuber to fully explain it, but it is still interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, Steve Mould, check him out. Makes good videos. Steve Mould!
Good videos.
You might enjoy these videos if you're a nerd.
Yeah, they're for nerds. What of it?
What about it?
What about it?
What a boot.
Cool. Sorry, I had to burp at an inopportune moment.
That's how it goes. Oh, speaking of that, do you think my Marco Polo would translate well to audio only, Hannah?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
All right.
Hold on.
Yeah, Hannah's going to play it for everybody.
Wow, she seems like she's been really inconvenienced by this.
I mean, I would have brought it up, but she was like, let me get it, so.
Yeah, I'm getting it. Okay. All right, here we go. Listen to this great Marco Polo.
I ate a bunch of cucumbers.
Is that it?
That's the wrong one. Also, it was really loud.
So loud.
Seems to be better. This is a lot faster. Do you guys ever get the hiccup burps? I'm having them, but maybe the way to cure them... maybe that'll do it.
More like the hiccup burp laughs, am I right?
Well, the laugh, I think, helped reconfigure my diaphragm, because I was having a lot of them. Kept doing them. Molly was like laughing at every time I did one, and so then I was like, "Wow!"
By the way, I've never had those in my life.
I get those, and sometimes I think it might be cucumber related.
That's why she said she ate a bunch of... I don't know if I was able to keep that in because it was so loud, but she just sent a polo later that said, I ate a bunch of cucumbers.
I did look it up, and there is something in cucumbers that can give you the burps. So, I don't know why cucumbers burps. I don't know. Have you ever had hiccup burps, Hannah?
I don't remember. Maybe like a handful of times.
50% of the time when I'm getting hiccups, it's hiccup burps. It's like the hiccup accompanies a burp. So, I don't know.
Let's do homework.
Okay, yep.
Okay. My homework is check out Technology Connections on YouTube. Seems like a nice dude, knows a lot of stuff. I would recommend, I'm going to link to both of his heat pump videos because they're both great. But also you could scroll through his channel, see he's talked about humidifiers, he's talked about old like toys, he's talked about like CDs and RAM and ROM and like all kinds of shit. So just like old types of phones. He's got a broad range of interests. And also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Anthropology. Come watch me play video games with my husband and friend Matt on Twitch at...
That sounded like you were calling Matt your husband and friend.
My husband Ian and my friend Matt on Twitch at twitch.tv/Maddie Pizza Table at 8 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Someday... because Matt's like almost fully juiced also, maybe we'll do a stream where we're all together in person. That'd be pretty exciting. What day is it? Okay.
What day is it?
If you're listening to this as it comes out on Sunday, then our next stream is going to be some kind of Stardew Valley challenge stream. We're going to be playing co-op Stardew. So I just learned that today. Matt's kind of the programming director, and I just kind of go along with it, which is great. Perfectly fine with me. That's it for me. Erin, what's your homework?
Hello. Great question. My homework is to check out Jacob Collier's YouTube channel. I particularly recommend watching all or portions of the #IHarmYou epic marathon. Sorry, that's such a bad name. He doesn't harm anybody, but he harmonizes anybody. Oh. And then also check out his logic sessions. Nice. They are fun. Logic session breakdown, they're really cool. A lot of good stuff to be found there. Okay.
Logic good stuff.
Logic good stuff. That's great. Get juiced. That's my other piece of homework. Oh, if you can.
Yeah, get juiced. Oh, I got juiced. Can I tell you a fun life bit that Ian's been doing real quick that I should have done as an upfront? We've been watching a bunch of old My Cat from Hell episodes because they've been popping up on YouTube for some reason. And I love to watch the opening package for each cat and then like try to guess what the problem is. And then I'm right every single time, and it's so great. But I'm like, that cat seems like they have pain in their hindquarters, and then that's exactly they have arthritis. So this one cat had arthritis, undiagnosed arthritis in her like back area, and so the vet recommended cat acupuncture. And Ian and I then dreamed up a business called Catchupuncture. And then Ian started doing a voice for this character who was supposed to be like the proprietor for Catchupuncture, but he was like from New Jersey for some reason, even though they filmed the show in California. And he was like, yeah, come on down to Catchupuncture. It's kind of a misnomer because we actually puncture the cats, but you know, it's a fun little wordplay. And like, it just does it all the time now. And it's so delightful. Anyway, Ben, what's your homework?
My homework is to watch Steve Mould on YouTube. It's Steve and then Mould. Watch his hydrodynamic videos and also watch all his other stuff. It's good stuff.
Fabulous.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Okay, if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at 2BroadPod. Follow us on Instagram at Way2Broad. You can email us, way2broad@gmail.com. If you missed any of the contact information that I just gave, and if you're looking for links for the homework and stuff, you can find all of that on our website at way2broad.com for anything you want. Our phone number, I forgot our phone number. Call us or text us. If you call us, you leave a voicemail at our phone number, 774-326-0420.
Blaze it.
Blaze it.
420 was this week. Happy 420,
yeah, it really was.
everybody.
Yeah. I hope you dialed Blaze it.
I hope you dialed Blaze it during 420.
Blaze it.
And for way2broad.com for anything you want, earnben.com for anything you need, maxfun.org for a dog on a boat. And that's it. So the podcast candle is now extinguished. Bye, everybody.